A shelf where all the broken things were piled. The stories told in whispers and in scars. Brought you here beneath these waiting stars. Not for a fix or just to soothe the ache, but for the chance that something new could break. So let the silence hold you like a seam where every thread of hope begins to gleam. This is the in-between. Welcome to the butterfly room, where healing's not an end, it is a tune. You learn to hum and gentle afternoons. Transformation blooms from a cocoon of questions. You'll be led to see the colors waiting in the thread. Welcome to the butterfly room. We'll hold the lens up to the hidden part, the dormant art that's beating in your heart. We'll map the change, the subtle, steady turn, the lessons that the aftermath can learn. Not to erase the lines that make your map, but to unfold the wings and cross the gap and watch the old shell fragile drift away, making space for the new light of day. In this alchemical space, welcome to the butterfly room, where healing's not an end, it is a tune. You learn to hum and gentle. That's right. Welcome to the butterfly room. We've got an amazing show coming your way once again, and I've got my amazing the hostess with the mostest. She's doing a lot of things. She's got a lot of things going on in her world and everything like that. So we've got Toya joining us, and of course we've got an amazing show that we're going to be talking about a number of things, including relationships and other things as well. But always glad to have the amazing and beautiful Toya with us and everything like that. So it's time for the butterfly room, and I know that you've got some great things happening in your life, and I know you've got this great guest that'll be joining us as well. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and of course I'll be here to help keep this ship running and everything along those lines. But we're going to play this clip of your guest very shortly and hear some of the things that are going on. But definitely wanted to hear how your day is going. I know you've been going through some stuff in life, but we've all been going through stuff in life and everything like that. So how are you doing today and everything like that?
Thank you, Mark. I wasn't sure if I was going to record today, but as you know, one of our guests that was on the couch with Dr. Diamond also will be visiting us. Marlon E. Curtis II said 31 reasons why you have to bet on yourself. And that includes consistency. Had surgery to repair my ACL on Tuesday, ER yesterday, because my uvula got suctioned, but here I am. Because if I had to work, I would have to do that. So I have to invest in myself, my legacy. So thank you for asking.
Yourself, there's no doubt about it, on a regular and everything like that.
Yep. So today it was a pleasure for me to, because we have a business person. See them morph. And as you say, the butterfly room is a place for change. But the thing is that for those who are new to us, the room is a place for healing, breakthrough, and morphing into who you were always meant to be. True healing comes when you accept what was given to you and when you become. And our guest today has become. And we're going to let him, without further ado, we're going to bring in Ezra Franklin. But before we do that, we're going to play this clip. And that's why he's on the butterfly room today. Thank you, Mark.
No problem. Let's check out this clip and hear what he's got to say about what's going on with our relationship space in this day and time.
The family aspect has been shaken because the women became the breadwinner of the house, just because of the state of Black men in general. Before, the Black man was the controller of the house because he controlled the money. Now the women control the money. So whoever controls the money controls the house. Because at the end of the day, I could kick you out, which means is I could take some of your manhood any chance that I get. You follow me? Because I could kick you out this house. And a homeless man really don't feel like a man himself. So that's what we're actually up against. Cause I lead by example. You follow me? Sad. Nobody tell me what the fuck to do. You follow me? Nobody, cause I'm a man's man and I'm financially stable. So what you say to me don't affect me the way it affect another man. You follow me? But at the end of the day, that strength is what women respect. You follow me? Women have lost respect for men because men is not standing their ground. Women going to try you. It's just natural nature of a woman to try you. But when you stand your ground, it actually turns a woman on and make a woman respect you. But a lot of guys can't stand their ground because they're really broke. They really can't do nothing. They really don't have any resources. So at the end of the day, a woman never going to respect a man that she could push around. And that's what the state of relationships happened. Women became a man and a man became a woman. And that's not the dynamics of the way this thing's supposed to go. You're supposed to do everything that you can do in your power to take care of this family. And that's what the woman is going to respect. The reason why women respect men back in the day, because men still on business, B. When men came home, they regulated what happened in his house. And a lot of times a man don't have a voice because he don't have any money. And that's the difference. So instead of chasing a woman, go chase that paper. The woman's going to come. She's going to react to whatever it is you're offering as a man. You follow me? A lot of these guys are not men anymore. And women don't respect little boys. And guys are asking to be respected just because they're of age to be a man. But really all you is a boy in a grown man's body. You have no choice over whether you're going to get old or not. But your production is what makes you a man. The things that you're responsible for is what make you a man. When your family is struggling, when the bills need to be paid, and your kids is not being well taken care of, she's never going to respect you as a man because that's your responsibility as a man to take care of this family. And if I'm the one taking care of this family, then I'm the one wearing the boxes. And that's just the way it go in the world in general. Other men don't go through the things that we go through because they bring the bacon home, though. They doing whatever they have to do to make sure that that family is being well taken care of. And all women want more than anything is security. You feel me? And that's what they don't feel. Niggas think slinging dick is the thing. Nah, nigga, a nigga that's going to get security in this house is going to outweigh any nigga slinging anything. And that's what we got to get back to. We got to get back to taking care of this family under all means necessary. Taking care of these little boys, making sure they get into whatever they need to get into their books, get into sports. But meanwhile, got to be able to bring the bacon home, man. You feel me? Guys want to be a man inside of a house. You ain't bringing home no groceries. Oh, that's not the way this thing go. You ain't getting no oils changed. You ain't getting no tires changed. You ain't doing anything of any value to be accepted as a man. And that's where the problem come in at. Like, women ain't as strong as you think they are. You feel me? No, they only strong. They only scared boys. I'm not scared of no woman on this planet, man. I'll tell you, okay, Miss Lily Franklin. All right, I'm scared of one woman on this planet. That's my mother, man. Anything else, I don't fear no woman. You feel me? Because I'm a man, and a man stand on business. And anytime another man said he's scared of a woman, it's because you lacking some things, and that's why you're scared of her. Because she could do something, and you'll feel it. Nah, a woman ain't gonna do nothing, my nigga, if you're standing on business, because she's gonna be scared to lose you. You feel me? If you're of any value, a woman gonna be scared to lose you. The reason why women ain't scared to lose men because they have no value at all. They don't know their position in this world. They haven't took a stand on anything. Every other race you see that men is running that household, B. Bottom line, Mexican men run their household because they working on a consistent basis. Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, they open up bodegas. They open up salons for their women to work. How could you not respect me? I make sure that you eat every day. I'm telling you, everybody respect the person that put food in their stomach. And yeah, they're going to try you because it's just their nature to try you. But I'm telling you, your value is what stopped them in their tracks, B. Period. Because don't nobody want to starve. And the last thing you're going to do is put your hand up to the person's feeding you. And that go for anybody in general, man. That go for your children. That go for anybody. That go for your friend, your cousin. I'm telling you, that go for your dog. You feel me? Your dog respect you, nigga, because he know you the one putting that food in that bowl. Other than that, he don't want to talk. So what make you think anybody else want to talk? Your kids respect you because they know the Cheerios in there, man. You bought them. And that's what we got to get back to. Get back to men being men. You feel me? And if somebody out of pocket, you got to be able to tell them, yo, shut up. and stand on that. And if you don't shut up, I'm gonna starve you. I bet you they shut up because nobody want to starve, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, let's
deep
bring in Mr.
messages right there and
Franklin.
everything. And I think we got the gentleman that has had that announcement and had that Facebook post with us. We've also got Dr. Diamond with us, so I think I'm gonna bring him up. I think that it looks like he's also part of a record label since I see McGee Records here, so I'm assuming that must be a record label as well. So I'm gonna bring him up and he can tell me about that as well. But up and hear what he's got to say about this post that he put out there, because a lot of people will probably say that that was a post that needed to be heard a long time ago and everything like that. I
Yes.
know that Ezra, I think that was your name. I think that's what Toya told me and everything like that. But I know that this has been a conversation that's been out there because I was also watching a recent debate that was featuring one of those women boxers that's undefeated. And I think it's one of our sports anchors was saying kind of what you were saying, that he was not going to be, that she couldn't take any male boxer because it wouldn't be much of a fight because she's a female boxer. And she was like saying, I'm not trying to take on any male boxer, but I spar with a lot of them as well and everything like that. So she was having that comment, and that's been going over social media as well.
Is Dr.
Uh-huh.
Diamond coming on in? You bringing
Yeah, I
in
can bring Dr.
our
Diamond in as well.
PhD? Because she was on location. How you doing, Dr. Diamond? I'm glad you were able
Hey,
to
how
get
you
in with
doing?
us.
How you
Yes,
been?
I'm doing great. I know you just came back from the island, so I wasn't sure if you're going to get on. But today, we talk about a lot of stuff. We're going to MC Records here. Ezra Franklin, he's a proprietor, father, and a motivator. And I said, when I saw the post, I said, this is something that we do talk about, perspective. We talk about women and self-worth. And today's session is about self-worth. We had homework. We're going to deal with the homework later on. But we're going to without further ado, Mr. Franklin, welcome. And thank you for blessing us in the butterfly room.
Okay, hey, how y'all doing? Y'all gotta excuse some of the cursing. I've kind of got thrown into the situation. Um, so it seemed a little, over the hill, some of my talk, but I didn't know that I was going to be on this type of platform. But basically, I was really practicing. I haven't really put my podcast together completely. I own several different businesses, and I just opened up a recording studio. And I said, I think I want to do a podcast because I have things to say, things that's on my mind all the time. I have to let it out. So I went in and I started practicing. But when I start talking, it just become natural to me. So sometimes I just get into that type of zone. Someone asked me a question and I answered it. And that was my answer, my best answer that popped up top of my head. Um, it's crazily, it just went viral. I had 2 clips that I put out and I had several phone calls, so many different people. So I think I'm on the right track. I guess I'm on the right track because people have been calling me ever since I put them post out. But my podcast itself is not set up completely, but I just wanted to test the waters. I never talked in public on that level. So I wanted to see how I feel, how comfortable I will be, and the response was great, and I really appreciate that. So really, I'm fresh, I'm new. I haven't done a podcast before. I got a set that I'm putting together, but I just was talking that day, and my nephew was asking me different questions, and off the top of my head, I just answered them to the best of my knowledge. And not only that, I have a lot of experience in different things. This is my 13th business. I've been into business for over 20 years. Relationships, I had long-term relationships. And I have a lot of experience in life. So that's all I'm talking about. Um, my actual original podcast was going to be I've had questions and answers because I feel as myself I can answer any question, and I can answer any question, so I have answers. And I want questions that I have to ask also. But since I say you follow me so much, which I didn't recognize that I say it that much, one of my friends said to me, he said, why don't you name your podcast You Follow Me? Because you keep saying that. So that's how the name actually changed to You Follow Me, because he said it's kind of catchy for me to say that. So that's kind of introduction to basically how I'm starting this podcast thing.
It's definitely
I'm not.
catchy, Ezra, and everything like that.
Yes.
I've got a
Yeah.
friend of mine, he's a reverend and everything like that. And we've had the rise in shootings here in Durham, where I'm at. I'm in Durham, North Carolina. And I just want to
Okay.
read a little bit about what he said. And I just want to hear your thoughts about it. And even Dr. Diamond and, of course, Toya, the lady that runs the butterfly room and everything, because I think it's something that fits into what we deal with in the butterfly room, which is mental health and everything. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want to read the first few paragraphs that he wrote earlier today. He said the recent rise in shootings in Durham reflects a troubling pattern that is unfolding across many communities in the United States. While the violence is deeply concerning, it should be understood within a broader national context marked by economic anxiety, social strain, and a growing sense of collective despair affecting many people. In times when families are coping with financial instability, job loss, housing pressures, and uncertainty about the future, these pressures can contribute to the environment where conflict and violence become more likely. It is important that we approach this issue with care and nuance. Assigning blame solely to elected officials, parents, or the education system oversimplifies a complex challenge. There are also growing concerns about the well being of Black youth in particular, whose lives are often shaped by structural inequities, limited opportunities, and communities that have historically received fewer resources and investments. Part of the current reality is also the consequence of limited public policy aimed at reducing the number of guns circulating in communities. What I really want to go with at that and everything is, Ezra, what's your thought about that? Because I know both in the Northeast where you and everybody else is at, and in the South where I'm at, there's this notion that Black youth are really under attack and everything like that. So I just wanted your take on what my good friend Dr. Kenny said. And there's more that he said as well, but I just wanted your take on that part.
Just because I have a son, I have one son, he's 16 years old. He's my guy, he's my everything. The relationship that me and him have, I think in his heart, he don't want to disappoint me. These kids have no one in their life that they don't want to disappoint. And that's the major problem. I don't think there's any other problem because there's people in my community, Spanish guys, Mexican guys, all different other type of nationality in the urban community, and they're doing well there. They're opening up businesses right here where we live at. So nobody else have to come and bring them resources. One thing I could speak from example, I have
Mm-hmm.
12, I opened 12 stores. I didn't need anyone to come to me and be like, hey, we're going to help you open 12 stores. No, I had a job. I took it among myself to go ride past. Places do not stop you. One thing I know I've learned, because I've been in jail before, I had a criminal record, they do not stop you from written locations. That's one thing about being in business. Your record doesn't play a
Mm-hmm.
part in business at all, which means is the same way a Chinese person could come into your community, they ride past an empty building, they call a landlord, they rent the business, and then they start to sell things out of the business. This is what you can do. I have a tobacco license. I didn't even know tobacco license only costs $50. There's certain things and certain information that we just don't have, and we don't have men in the midst of these boys. And that's the big problem.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any examples of what a man looked like. So these guys are thinking a man gotta have a gun. A man gotta have, and I know this for a fact because there's a lot of people that respect me where I'm from. It's 12 people that actually work for me, men, and they respect how I move. They don't want to disappoint me. We don't have enough of that in our community. We don't have enough people and enough Black men coming in the community. Don't let the Chinese man get that building. You get the building. You put the business there. You hire the young man. You talk to the young man on a consistent basis. I'm telling you, they will listen. But since they don't see a man, they kind of think and they got to try to figure out what a man really is. And now, okay, I see this older guy, he got a gun. So that's what a man is, because I don't see another example of a man.
Exactly.
We have to really get to the point where we come together as men and we talk. And I'll be like, listen, you know what? We can open this. Oh, this is not a Puerto Rican store. Because for years I thought it was a Puerto Rican store. No, it's a bodega. Anybody can open this store. You go to Costco's, get candy just like they do. It's not rocket
Mm-hmm.
science. You go to BJ's, you go to Sam's Club. This stuff, you don't even have to advertise or market the product. It's a Sprite. You just go get a Sprite and you sell a Sprite. He don't have a better Sprite than me because he's Puerto Rican. He got the same Sprite I got. So that's the issue with us. We don't have ways to produce money for the little kids. So they try and go get the money on any other basis, you know. I hire a kid, I pay him $15 an hour. Now he don't have to run the streets. And you talk to him, you be around him, and you let him see what a man really is. And now he got another example. Now the gun guy don't look so, appealing to him no more.
Appealing.
He doesn't look as appealing. Hey, Ezra, in that same
Yes.
ad category, and I'm gonna turn it back over to Toya. Isn't part of the problem that we don't understand our history? Because as Toya and Dr. Diamond know, one of my other jobs, and sometimes I'm doing it from that location. I'm not doing it today. I'm doing it from my apartment. Is I work at a cultural arts center that is part of Black Wall Street, and a lot of people don't even know what Black Wall Streets are, even though there were Black Wall Streets literally in New York City. Central Park was a Black Wall Street. It wasn't just Durham and Tulsa and everything like that. So I'm wondering, is part of the problem that we don't understand our own history, and that also that we think that we can't recreate it? Because one of my favorite quotes is a quote by W.E.B. Du Bois, where he talked about that literally from the time that you were born in the hospital to the time that you died were buried and everything, you could have everything, including the bed that you slept on and the suit that you were wearing that was made by an African-American male and everything like that, all in our community, kind of the way that the Chinese and the Mexicans do now and everything like that.
But what it is everything that you're talking about is the history. It's the family of origin.
Right.
And that's the reason why I wanted to talk to today's topic is self-worth. We have homework. But right now, when I saw your post, I had to pivot because you have to think self-worth comes from what you're saying. And you know my family of origin. You know my father. You know the men in my family. So my father is straight up. So when you think about the example, then I had my mom, T said, you want to be you pay the cost to be the boss. So you get it? My mother's side of the family, strong women, right? My father's side, I don't want to say womanizers. They like women and women like them. And a lot of times they're transparent. So I was stuck. So I had started doing some research for myself, talking to women in other circles. So when you posted that, it hit the nail. So when you said the women's in charge, I was in charge by default. I have one child who just turned 25. So I said, well, what am I doing wrong? They tell you to heal yourself. I did the healing. I made sure that I did what I need to do. But when you come out to the dating field, that's what we're talking about, Mark. Those people from the South. You have Southern people. Back then, my dad said, well, Abraham had many wives. So we haven't met the creator. So there are some people who are believing polygamy and a whole lot of stuff. So I know we got Dr. Diamond on here, and I'm so glad you're here because this is a history person here. So right now, when I did post it, I posted on the page, I put, a disclaimer for that. But when you were talking, you hit the points. And here we're trying to heal the women, heal the men. As you said, you are a man. You're respected. And as we know, respect is earned and not given. So there are a lot of single women out here who have worked on themselves, educated. I had a guy tell me, I don't care what degrees you have, as if I couldn't discuss it. So I said, okay, you're a Southern person. You're a Bible person, so what do you do with that? So am I supposed to shrink myself in that relationship? What do you do? Then it goes back to the favorite movie my son loved, The Lion King. Who sits on the rock? What does the man do? Who does all the work? The women. So you see this is where you're taught things and then reality happens. So you kind of get where we're going, Ezra. This is where, but you hit it on the point about a man versus a boy.
Yeah, that man versus boy, that was a deep quote. I definitely agree with that. And I definitely want to hear Ezra explain more about that because you got a lot of boys masquerading as men running around and everything. And sometimes they can even masquerade in what they are saying that they want. Because I know that both men and women sometimes are going overly materialistic. Because I know some women that are wanting you to have that certain kind of whip, that certain kind of car and everything, of that certain kind of house. And they are maybe a little bit too occupied with that and not thinking about the greater picture and everything like that. So I just wanted your take on that, because even as a man in my 60s, I've run into women like that when I was in my 30s, 40s, and even 50s, where there were some that were, you didn't have the right house, or you didn't have the right car, or you didn't have the right job. And as we've said on this show, the right job is sometimes a misnomer. And I know you know this because you just said you served some time, and you probably got some friends that are plumbers and friends that are welders. Some of those plumbers and welders make more than the doctors and the lawyers. Let's be for real.
Yep. The blue collar versus white collar. Yep.
And my thing is more about relationships. It's not about what you do. It's about compatibility. Right. This is what people don't really look at. Like, for instance, if I go out to the bar every day and I see a female in the bar every day, And that's what I like to do every day. To be honest with you, I should talk to her because she's compatible with what I like to do. A lot of people, they don't actually deal with people that they're compatible with. You got to really observe the person that you're trying to date. You got to see if y'all like the same things, if y'all do the same things, if y'all got the same interests, and then y'all build off of that. A lot of people is basically trying to build off of things that we're not compatible in the first place. You got a degree, I got a degree. That don't make us compatible. The things that we like to do, the things that we like to say, how we live our life, that's what makes us compatible. And when people get into dating, I'm getting a chance to learn who you are. And once I learn who you are, then I determine whether I want to be in a relationship with you. And I think people forget this concept. No, I don't know you. I've just met you, which means is I'm dating you and I'm getting to know you. And when I make a decision on whether I'm going to be with you, it's going to be a decision off of what I've learned since I've been dating you. And now if I don't like something about you or you're not compatible with me in some other way, then I'm going to make my exit. But the only way that I know that is to date you. And when people get into, oh, he ain't nothing, he wasted my time. How else was I going to know you if I didn't date you? I didn't grow up with you. I met you. I don't know what you do. I don't know your character. I don't know what your religion is. I don't know anything about you. So I'm going to date you. And if we get into sex, yes, we possibly might get into sex, but that's part of the process. But that don't mean it's end all be all for me. That don't mean I have to stay with you forever. I learned some things about you and now I know that I'm not compatible with you. You don't have the same views on life that I have, which means is I do have the right to leave. I don't have to stay because we had sex a few times. You don't have to stay. If you see something about a person and you be like, know what? That's really not my type of person. We tried this, but at the end of the day, cut that thing short and then go and keep dating if you have to. But find somebody that you're compatible with. And that's what people don't do. They try to make you into what they want you to be. You can't change people. I am who I am. You are who you are. No, find somebody of your liking and then you date them. That's what you're building off of. I don't care what you got. You can have any degree you want to. But if you snore funny, and I don't like people to snore funny, your degree ain't got nothing to do with that. Because I just don't like people that snore funny. So unless you go put the degree over your nose, I don't know what we're going to do here. We're just not compatible. And that's why I should not be with you. There's certain things about you I don't like, and it's fine. And I could be your friend, but you can't be my wife because I'm not compatible with you. And you can't be my husband because it's things about you that just don't coincide with what I do in my life. And it's fine. We met and now we're going our separate ways. Don't waste nobody time because that's what people are doing. They wasting time.
Ezra, I gotta
Yeah, but
keep
I
you
know
because
Dr. Diamond's looking over there. She has her notes, so
yeah,
that's
and
our
I gotta hear,
That's
yeah,
fine
agent
with
on the
me.
call.
Huh? Yes,
tell
I
me
hear
to
you.
tease Dr. Diamond as well because I know for a fact that she's got a husband because that's actually how I met her and met Toya
Yep,
and
yep, we
everything
met
like
her.
that
And
and
they're
everything like
Leos
that.
like
But
us.
he is a
Dogs
diehard.
and
He's
Leos.
a diehard Ravens fan. I think she's a diehard Ravens fan as well. So is the
Yep.
compatibility also go with your sports as well and everything?
Yes, we could
But I
build
know.
off of that. Okay, we
Yep.
got something to build off of. But people be trying to build off of nothing. That's just
Dr.
my
Diamond.
view. That's just my view. Don't go quote me on it, but that's just the way that I think.
Wow. Okay, so there's a lot of topics here, right? So I'm just jotting them
I
down as
know
we go.
it went kind of
So,
different here. Yeah, thank you.
yeah,
Pull us
I'm
in.
trying to keep up. So it was the opening or this topic that you started with was supposed it's like self-worth, right?
Yes.
That's the initial topic.
Yes,
And
that's what we
then
are. We're talking about self-worth and what
Right.
he went into. The video went explain that when it comes down to that. And then we kind of took a tangent. So we want to get on topic, but I know.
Okay, so Ezra, I'm going to ask you this to clear it up for me because I missed part of your video. So the self-worth, what was the question that initiated your answer? So
His nephew asked him something. His nephew asked him a question.
What was the question?
The question was, what is wrong with the state of relationships at this time?
Okay. All right. Okay, so this is where now, because again, I'm listening because I missed the meat of that to understand the answer. So I got part of the answer because that's when I came into the show. Okay, So yeah, what is wrong with relationships right now? Okay, well, I think it's a compound question and answer. And I say that because we are, who gave us the tools to know what relationship looks like? If you go back, way back, like Toya was saying, I am a history person, but it incorporates what I do as a therapist too, that you have to have someone to give you the foundation for you to understand how relationship begins. So we do have grandparents, and most of our grandparents were married like for years, right?
Mhm.
But then there's certain things that they didn't show us because they weren't even taught that it is okay to teach the next generation what relationship should develop into and what they should look like. So what happens is we are out there in limbo. So then we go out into the community. The community teaches us what? We're talking about two teenagers that don't know nothing. And then they come together and so-called, quote unquote, be in a relationship. How? Who taught it to you? What happens in a relationship? So let's look at this. A young woman with a guy, she think it's okay to hit this guy, right? That's not okay. But then when you go back into her history, that's all she saw in her house. So she's only doing what she was taught to do. However, this young man have learned you don't hit girls from a little time. You don't hit girls. So he's not going to hit back. So he's learning the right thing. She learned the wrong thing. But who are us to tell her you're wrong? Because that's what she saw in her house. Now, all I'm talking about is conditioning, because conditioning goes from where we started to where we are now. So it is just so convoluted. And then I'm thinking about also going back to what Mark was saying, and this ties into relationship. We deal with a lot of complex trauma. It's a lot of negativity. So with that negative trauma and additional trauma, we're carrying all of this stuff. So when you think about relationship, are we healthy enough to be in relationships? Now, there are all types of relationships: social, intimate, work relationships. In a lot of those relationships, sometimes the dynamics is messed up and it's the person, but they don't understand it is them. So when everybody walk away from you and you're like, oh, it's their problem. No, actually it's yours, but you don't see it because no one ever told you, look at yourself and see what you're projecting out into the world, because that's what's happening. Now, the knowledge of self begins with you. Sometimes that comes from someone telling you, look at what you're doing, because you're not appropriate at this time. You're not doing what you should be doing. As far as women, you're right. A lot of women find that they tie into items.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't give me this, he's not worthy. Ma'am, you need to go sit down to the left. Don't do that, because this man, or that's what you see, is dollar signs. That's not fair to him, because all she's looking at is the dollar sign versus who is this person? What do we have in common? How can we grow? What would that look like when we grow versus items? Because you can't take none of this with you when you die. None. But you can always remember in that altar state, wherever we go, who loved you. And that's it. That's where I'm going to end that. Okay? That's it.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Diamond, for that, because it's all together. And that's why I said from here, a good example, because he's a great father. He has a son, he has 2 daughters. So I have watched, and then I also was, my cousin's good friend, and you see that. And I said, that is something that needs to be discussed here because of what you said. A woman's going to make herself who she wants to be, right? Then you're looking for a partner. Compatibility is the main thing. However, me as being a single mother, I didn't push the issue. When I did try to get child support, it was a lot. I had to work, do everything that I needed to do. I never required that. But now we're talking to a lot of women, Ezra, who have done the work, who come to the table with all these things. But now I like what you're saying. It's the compatibility aspect.
Yeah.
So that means that they're trying to look for something, and et cetera, et cetera. But now when you pull the plug. But the only thing that I don't like, which is another topic, is the gaslighting and, love bombing and all that. where
Yeah.
these young millennials come up with this. If you don't want to be someone, just say something. But some of the men don't. But
That
I
gaslighting
appreciate
ain't
your
no
candor
joking. That
though.
gaslighting is done by both men and
Hmm.
women. But I got a question
Yes.
for both of you, Toya, and you, Ezra, because I knew that about you, Toya, and I knew that now about Ezra. But how, as a parent and everything like that, how do you go about parenting a gender that is opposite of yours? Because you've got two girls, so I'm sure that you are giving some advice to them, and you don't necessarily have though they've got, because you mentioned it, they've got your mother in their life and everything, which is their grandmother and everything. But I just wondering, how do you go about training a successful woman as a male leader, since they don't necessarily have a woman figure in their life? And the same thing for you, Toya.
No,
On
they
the
have a
male.
mother. They do.
Oh
They
no,
do.
no, my
They
kids
do.
have their mothers in their life.
Okay, cool.
Yes. We co-parent
You
very,
co-parent.
very, yes, we co-parent very well. Because what we realized was we was better as friends. And
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of things I talk about from example from my life in general. I have a 33-year-old daughter by the same lady. I have a 23-year-old daughter by the same lady. I have a 16-year-old son by the same lady. And we actually decided that we're better as friends, because we have something in common. We have these children, and we are responsible for these children under all means necessary. So our relationship and our issues, as far as the relationship, have to be put to the side. And that's what people have to learn to build. You have to learn to build some type of ground that you're standing on. And you have to be so serious about that ground that you're standing on. It's equal to a relationship. That's what makes the new relationship necessary. You got to put things on the same level as the relationship. And the fact that we have 3 kids together and we're so serious and we love these kids unconditionally, everything else goes after that. So we're friends because of that. And nothing goes before that. I go to the house, I see them kids every time on a consistent basis. We all have great relationships. People don't build friendships enough. If you build something, it's in friendship and it's solid, you will stand on that friendship. We
Hmm.
could build a relationship at any given time, but if you build a relationship before you build a friendship, a person don't have a problem hurting you. See, I have a problem hurting her, not because I'm in a relationship with her, because I'm her friend. And a lot of people don't do that,
Exactly.
and we have to get back to common sense. People making things way too complicated. Life is not complicated. If you have enough common sense and you have morals inside of you, you live according to the morals. Stop making life so strange and so complicated. Build something first, and then you build on top of that. This is my friend. We have things in common. And then when the relationship part don't work, understand as a grown up, it just didn't work. It ain't an end all be all. You don't have to end the friendship. And we have to understand that that's what we have to get to. And at some point, we have to get to the point where people just be all right without actually being in a relationship
Yeah, it
together.
didn't work, and there
Because
might be reasons it
you might can
didn't
help me
work at the
still.
time.
You might can
Co-parenting
help
is
me
wonderful.
still
I don't
build
have
my life.
any
You
kids
can
of my
help me
own, but I
build my
do have
life as a
my 2 nephews.
friend.
I've said before.
I think someone has a delay. Mark, you have a
Okay.
delay. Someone
Yeah.
did. Mark,
Okay, go
because
ahead.
you're
Yeah.
frozen, Mark. Can you move your head?
Yeah. He's frozen.
Yeah, but I want to
I
just
I agree with you 100% about friendship. That is something that I talk about a lot when I am doing my counseling sessions with those that are couples. I always ask them about their friendship, because that is the foundation of all relationships. If you're able to do that, and you're exactly right, when you can't find that, okay, we're not compatible anymore, but you can break off and just remain friends, then yes, the co-parenting will exist, because the friendship has always been there, and then you're right, advice can happen both ways. Even if you're dating someone else, you can say, hey, I met this person, can I talk to you about this person? Because you're talking to your friend, that is your best friend. That could be your best friend now because that's where you are. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I also think the concept of people, and it's not everybody, you have people not believing that platonic relationships can happen. Yes, they can. Even if you were in the relationship with a person, you can still have a platonic relationship with this person, be healthy with them as a friend, and help them walk through life together in that way. But again, because it's not something that people do, as you stated, with the common sense, you're right, common sense, but it's not common for everybody. And that is what concerns in that, because it really is.
You gotta have therapy and everything. But I did have a question for y'all based on
well, before we change gears, Mark, I wanted
it wasn't changing gears, it was still the same topic, but I'll go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to finish that because I was in a situation like that. A person was a friend first. Then the friend went to physical. Now we're platonic. It's hard. So the point is like, okay, you have love for a person, but just because two people love each other doesn't mean they're supposed to be together. So it's interesting, having a sleepover and you in one room or something like that. But the thing is that the person is in your life. They help you grow, but sometimes the compatibility piece don't work. And that's something that I had to live. I said, okay, I know I'm fabulous and everything. However, whatever's going on, people need to be honest, but people aren't. And then that's where people go below the belt. And I think sometimes, I could be right or wrong, I think that when someone wants to walk away, they hurt. And I think that it really takes a conversation. You know what? These are the things that I need to do. When I did couples therapy, I would ask them to, when you come in, write 3 things down, right? I'll look at it, doing those sessions. By the time I gave the sheet back, do you know, most of the time, you maybe can concur, Dr. Diamond, they both had at least 1 or 2 things on there the same. But then why the 2 of you didn't talk about it? That was really, and I would give clues and everything. But if you both had the same issue, it could have been resolved to work on that relationship earlier before now coming to a professional. So I don't understand it.
I'm gonna say this before Mark say, just to add to what you're saying, or the answer what you're saying. It's the maturity is the key. Okay, that's the key to everything. The maturity is what you are dealing with. Is this person lacking maturity, or are they mature? Because if they're mature, that means we can have, like, all of us right now are demonstrating a level of maturity. Am I right or wrong? Because we're talking about a topic that someone else can come in and be more offended by what we're talking about, because they're immature. They haven't reached that level of maturity to say, I can hear others' opinion and I can agree to disagree. That goes in all relationships.
Yes,
and I could be wrong here, but that's what I'm saying, from based off of what you're saying, based off what Ezra is saying, and then even Mark is saying. It is maturity is the key.
And speaking of that maturity, that's why I got to ask y'all, because I know that in my own situations and in situations that I've been part of that are family situations and all along those lines, sometimes it can also be understanding the dynamics of what you're getting into. Because I know for a fact that the relationship that my brother is currently getting out of, she's a widow. She never really got, and we've talked about this in our family dynamic, she never really got over the person that she was in love with, because she was in love with that person that died, that was her first husband and everything like that. And I think that was part of the issues that came into my brother's relationship with her, was that she was never over that first relationship and everything like that. Because I sometimes think that people get into relationships that they're never totally over and everything like that. And then it might be health issues and other things that get them to realize what's going on. Because I also know the cases where people have had twins in their lives and everything, and they are more closer to their twins than they are to the person that they're having a relationship with, like, and everything like that. So I just wonder y'all's thoughts on that, because I do sometimes think that people jump too quickly into relationships without realizing that they haven't healed totally and everything like that. So that's where, it might be 5-6 years down the line before they realize how deeply they are still impacted, because it could be a milestone. I think in this particular case, it was a milestone anniversary that came up that showed how much they were still in love with that first person that they had been in love with since their teen years and everything like that.
Yes, thank you. And Ezra, how much time do you have? Because I'm looking, I know you're a business guy.
Actually, I think I got another 16 minutes. Because I have to go to New York. I started this music business thing. I'm actually just managing artists and stuff like that. And unfortunately, these guys stay up at nighttime, and I'm really
And of
not.
course, that's just the way the truth is.
I don't know how I'm gonna.
They're
I don't know how
musicians.
long I'm gonna
I got friends
last.
in that business. They might be up till 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
I
I got
don't know
one
how
other
long.
person I want to give
I
some
don't know how
calls,
long I'm
but
gonna last with
Yeah, but I
this.
wanted to get into the state of the family. So that's really the meat of this, because we have homework and we're going to talk after you leave. But the meat of this that really honed on to me was in reference to men. You said I know you probably go to barber shops and things like that. For the women here that are listening, you said a lot. What is the woman supposed to do? They're dating someone. And as you said, the respect comes from, you know what? I'm going to be here and be a man's man. So for women who are looking for men's men, you have any tips? Because sometimes we have those pretenders, we call them magicians. They'll come up and they'll present something, and then we're stuck. And as you said, the heartache, people don't want to let go. But this is where the issue is. Who are making these men accountable? If here you're a stand-up guy, like you said, you're going to respect who's feeding you. But why are men doing that? Yeah, I know Dr. Diamond said maturity. What do the women do in the aspect of we need to know when someone's playing? That's what the ladies, the listeners want to know, because this is about healing. How do we know someone's not a pretender?
Really, you don't know. But at the end of the day, you have to be prepared for the unknown. And as you get older and as you have experiences in life, you lay on them. A lot of people have an experience over and over again and still go into the same situation blind again. It got to come to the point where you have accountability for what you're doing. And that's what people don't want to do. They always want to look across the table. No, if you've been through this before, you go through it in a different manner. You don't jump back in the pool the same way. You couldn't swim the first time. Somebody had to come and save you. So why did you do it again? Eventually it's on you. And that's what you have to start to do. You have to talk to yourself before you even make that walk. I know this. I've been through this thing before. I have to actually take it a little slow. And then I have to have enough respect for myself and enough strength within myself. If this don't go the way that I want it to go, I have to walk away like a big dog, because I've been through this before and I know that this can happen. And when you stop preparing for it to happen is actually when you let your guard down. You have to put something else in your life just as important as this relationship that you're chasing, and get back to that book, because the relationship might not happen. And if you keep on going in situations thinking it gotta happen, you're gonna be disappointed every time. It don't have to happen. So you go in there and you go in there with that intentions. It ain't on the man, because people only could do to you what you let them do to you. Bottom line, that's how I live on that every day.
And
If the
that's what you tell your
situation,
daughters? And that's basically what I'm asking. Is that what you tell your daughters?
that's what I tell my daughters,
Okay.
because this ain't something that's not universal. This is something that's actually common sense in a human being. You don't go into something the same way when you've seen the consequences already. You already seen the consequences. You have to build yourself up. You have to build your own strength sometime, because if you're putting that on somebody else, you're going to get disappointed every time. People are looking for other people to build their self-confidence. No, it ain't that serious. If you ain't died being single by now, you ain't going to die later. So you got to go in with that mindset. It's going to be all right. Okay, a little bit of crying ain't gonna hurt nobody. Wipe yourself off and go ahead about your business. Find a hobby, but don't keep pitting other people on high pedestals, because the thing that disappoint people the most in this world is people. So my thing is cut it out. Cut it out and stop thinking there's some people around here that's just good, perfect people. No, find you a buddy. I'm telling you, it's easier. Don't
Yes.
you got to deal. See, I'm a realist. I deal with reality. I deal with what I can see right in front of my face. Deal with the reality of life. And if you deal with the reality of life, you stop having these false expectations in people. People are not good, bottom line. And when you deal with that reality, man, you go in situations a lot different. I'm gonna go ahead and eat this food, and I'm gone, because you just not a good person across this table. I'm not gonna make it into my life, and it ain't gonna be end all be all. My mom's still alive. My brothers and sisters still alive. My son doing great in sports. I have a lot of other things that I can hold as this world is okay to me. I don't give a damn about no boo-boo. No, if I catch me one, cool. But if I don't, I like opening my store downstairs. Everybody got to stop putting so much value in people because you're getting older. You ain't aging backwards. You feel me? You might not find nobody, but you're gonna die like that. No, find another reason to be alive because
Okay.
that's my thing.
All right. So now that you have the daughters, now what do you tell your son in a situation like this? So now he has it. He was the perfect guest because now he can do both sides. He had a conversation with his daughters. Now, what do you tell your son when it comes down to that? The same
At
thing,
this
but
at this point, I let him live. I don't tell him
okay.
anything. He's not interested in relationships. He's interested in his next football game and the next basketball game.
Nice.
So that's not even a conversation. We have a time for that. You know, when he ready for that conversation, I give it to him. You know, but right now, I don't even want to cloud his mind up with that nonsense because that's what it is at this stage in your life. You don't need to know nothing about no girl or none of that type of thing because really play some basketball, play some sports, do your homework. You know, you have your time to be trying to like something, but right now it ain't the time. It's a dangerous game. So you don't want to rush into it anyway. So me and my son don't talk about that. If he happened to ask me about it, then I discussed it. But tell you the truth, it's a topic that ain't even necessary. I'm trying to see how many shots he gonna have tonight. That's what I want to talk about.
That's right. Check
Maybe
on
because that's not the
the sports and
conversation
everything like that.
initially.
Hey,
Yes. Yeah,
It's not the
everything have a
conversation.
time.
yeah.
Everything have a time to it. And some people rush things. Oh, I need to talk to him about this. No, you don't. Leave that alone. You know, it ain't
Well,
always
speaking of time, can
necessary.
well, speaking of times, Ezra, and this is to both Toya and Dr. Diamond, but I want to hear your thoughts as well. And it's the last part of Dr. Kenny's quote or Minister Kenny's quote that I was going to get to. But because I love this part, because it's really about our show, is what he's saying, even though he don't know that it's about our show. But I got to get him on our show. But he said that sometimes there is a clear need for stronger mental health support systems. Many people
Mhm.
struggle silently after experiencing the loss of relationships, unemployment, bullying, or other forms of trauma. Without accessible counseling, community-based support, and space for healing, those struggles can deepen and manifest in harmful ways. So I guess the question I've got for everybody is how important do you think it is to have therapy? And do you ever deal with that, Ezra, yourself and everything like that? Because I'm a big fan of therapy, whether it's even yoga or sometimes self-therapy. So I'm not always going to these trained professionals like Dr. Toya and Dr. Diamond. But how important is therapy in your life? Because that's what he's saying, is that a lot of times we're afraid to deal with it.
So y'all want me to talk because I feel like I'm talking too much,
No,
to be
go for it.
honest with you.
You're a guest.
Okay. All right. As far as therapy, I wouldn't the reason why I wouldn't be so familiar with it because my mind is so crazy. I'm my own therapist. I talk to myself a lot.
Mhm.
I'm alone a lot.
Positive
Um,
self-talk.
you know, I build off of my own energy, and I know everybody doesn't have that skill set. I think it's really a skill set that I have. I build off my own energy and I have a lot of common sense. But I think people do need more counseling because, for one, sometimes you need to hear yourself talk out loud to somebody else without the judgment. And that's the main reason why I think our people need counseling because our people are very judgmental. And the last thing you want to do is tell a person your truth and they judge you. So
Mhm.
that's where I think the counseling come in our community, and we really do need that. Um, or you have to find somebody that you actually been reading for a long period of time and just know that this person is really sincere person. I've never seen that person judge people, and this is a good person to go to because some people can't afford counseling. It's just something that has to be worked on. And sometimes hard work, there's nothing wrong with it. Just like when you go to your job, you work hard. Sometimes you got to work hard on your mental health. So you have to actually take the procedures to get to that. And that's where our peoples come in at. Sometimes we're a little lazy, even a lazy with your own mind. You can't be lazy if you want success at anything. So if you don't want to go crazy, you might have to work on that, because it might be a thing. You're like, yo, I feel like I'm going a little bit crazy. So I might need to work on that. Because sometimes people just let it go. Don't let it go. Because you let it go, it could go if you don't grab it back, you know? And that's what I think. I think people be going over the edge, and instead of them really like, no, well, let me think about this and let me get my mind back right. They just keep on going. And now they're on the bridge.
Mhm.
Because it comes down to support systems. And as you said, in our community,
That ain't funny. I'm not trying to be funny. But
no, you're hitting on a doornail because you're a layperson right now telling us what it is. People are afraid, but they may need help. And that what you were saying, what you're doing in a therapy model is positive self-talk. You know
yeah.
what you know, you say it out loud, you listen. That's what I do. When we on the spiritual side, it's called our secret closet. When you're sitting talking and you're saying it out loud, you're listening, and sometimes you're inspired. I remember one day I asked something, I see something and it said choice. And I was like, wow, it was on the dog food, something choice. And it just, like I said, I looked up, I said, wow. But I'm tapped in because that serenity prayer, that's the one I love because it's allowing me to look at life and say I'm living life on life's terms. And you have to think the animals are here. They're all taken care of. We just happen to talk. And for someone who I've watched King of the Apes and all that, they can talk. But the point here is we just happen to be in this world. If you believe in the creator, we're the ones that's in charge right now, for now. So we don't know what's going on. It's a lot of turmoil. And as you said, a lot of common sense has to kick in. But here, we like to hear what is going on in the world. So you have a lot of ventures. I like the fact that you mentioned about the children. And again, if someone watched that clip, now they can listen at the playback and say, okay, we heard that, but he was talking to his nephew. And that's really important about self-worth. Because again, someone can hear the clip and prejudge you. And now we really got to know about you by sitting here having a conversation, right? Yeah. Someone could have heard that, but in my disclaimer, I said, please be aware of explicit language. Because you were being real. You were in the moment.
Doesn't mind explicit language. We have a couple of shows that have explicit language. So I can tell you that the network doesn't mind that. So don't worry about that. Ezra and everything.
Okay. But yeah, we have
because
to
I am manager of artists and I manager of podcasters. Yeah, and manager of podcasters and other things along those lines and everything. So how much of this parenting advice do you bring into your other job as well? Because I do know that if you are managing artists, sometimes these artists need to have these conversations as well. So do you ever try to not so much get into their personal life, but also try to give them some good feedback about what you might think that they're doing right or wrong in their life? Because in a lot of ways, people that we manage are also we're their mentors and everything. So how much do you bring some of this mentoring aspect into your career as a music manager and a person that's working with these different artists?
For me, it's actually second nature. I own a convenience store that's actually right downstairs from my house, and I own a smoke shop that's actually a few blocks from where I'm at also. I also owned a salon, a barber shop, a female jewelry store. This is actually my 13th business. In everything that I do, I'm that guy that's compassionate about the people that I bring around me. In order for these people to work for me for years, you have to have that manager mentality because people are not easily to make them work for you. So I'm so compassionate about people that's in my midst that people love to work for me. And that's why I could run businesses, and that's why I could move around the way that I move around, because these people, I don't have to be here for my business to run, because the respect level that they have for me and the respect level that I have for them is the reason why this thing works so good. They care about my business just as much as I do, because I care about them just as much as they care about me. And that's what we're missing more than anything. People are not passionate about people anymore. It's just my nature, for one, to just be like that. So it's an easy spill for me. It's not even a thought process. If I see something wrong with anybody, just naturally, I'm going to try to help them to the best of my ability. And it's nothing that was taught. Actually, I could say it was taught. My mother's a beautiful lady. I was raised by a beautiful lady, and a lot of my ways come from her. And it's something you can't take out of me. Even at a default, sometime I'm like that. But it's just who I am. That's part of my makeup, part of my personality. And that's the reason why I did a podcast, because I have so much in my head that is just amazes me sometime. And I'm tired of talking to myself. And I said, no, what you should tell somebody. You should tell somebody before you go crazy. You
Well,
know.
thank
Looks like you got a
you.
lot
We
to
also
say, and it
have
looks like you
Dr.
got a lot
Diamond.
to share with us. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
You
No,
might,
go ahead.
no, you might have to tag team. I don't know. Dr. Diamond is every other Saturday at 11 a.m. So we tag team. I'm on Fridays at 8. She's the other week. So basically, this is more the healing here with the Black and Brown community. It's the history. And that's why I thought you were a good candidate to come here today because of that. Number one, you have morphed, Ezra, Mr. Franklin. You explained when you came here what you went through as a person who doesn't have a degree, and he was able to do all this. So now I'm just wanting to inspire everyone listening. Just because
And
you
that's the
didn't get
thing.
a degree,
I don't even have a high school diploma. So,
well,
so
see,
I don't
I
even
didn't
want.
even know that.
No,
I
and
didn't
a lot
even
of
know
people
that.
don't know that. They don't know that I didn't even graduate from high
Yeah,
school.
you
So
don't. And guess what,
forget a
Dr.
degree. I can't get a degree because I don't have a high school diploma. So,
but you got the most important degree. You got the degree of common sense, and you got the degree of
And
life.
life.
A lot of times that degree is more important than everything. That degree of life is something that is real. And a lot of times, because I got a good friend of mine, I've mentioned him before on this show, Mike Anderson. He has this whole thing called Polished Souls. He was in the pen for a manslaughter charge, if I remember correctly, and everything like that. But he's out, and he's definitely helping a lot of young people here in North Carolina. And he's been doing that for decades and everything like that, because he's been out for a while now and everything like that. But yeah, you've got the experience of life. I do have to tease you, Ezra, about one little light thing, because I know that you're in the Northeast, because that's where everybody's at but me, and everything like that and everything. But I did notice that LA hat. Do you get a lot of flack for that LA hat being in New York and everything like that?
No.
I
don't. Actually, if you're in New York, I can say that. But I live in Jersey. You know what I mean? You know, if you're in New York, you get flack for anything that's not New York. So that's not that's just a given in New York City, because they think they're the greatest.
You watch it. Watch it now.
Oh, she's from New York?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a little. I don't want to start bad already.
No, but I really want you to stay on for this last part, because we usually give homework. So normally what happens is we do one of these sessions and then we have a survivor story. But at the end of the survivor story, we always have homework, and it's about self-worth. And
I told you I ain't graduated from high school.
I want your honest opinion, because I want you to be part of this video with healing. And Dr. Diamond, you got your head. But anyhow, do you have a few minutes? Because I really want your honest opinion, because part of this process is healing. As you said, some people need common sense. However, if there's trauma, they may be lacking that. And these folks are out here trying to date. And I'm being honest, because like I said, it's funny, we opened up. When my mother passed away, I was in class and this guy said, "Yo, mama." Right? And I picked up the yardstick and hit him in the back. He punched me in my mouth. That's the first time I was hit by a man. So now I'm like, what do I do? And like Dr. Diamond said, I seen that. But I was like, he said my mother. My mother literally had just passed, and I got hit by a man. So from there, I guess at that time, you said something that disrespected me, I'm going to do something. So there, I'm on guard. So from there, you kind of feel a certain type of way. But the point is, mentioning that women, I don't know why I did that. I was 9 years old, but the point is, he hit me where you said someone else may not hit. So I'm just giving that, I'm sharing that as an example. So imagine someone growing up being defensive, but now I'm at the point in my life, violence doesn't always work. You have to learn to use your words. But that was my beginning. So now, again, here in this butterfly room, we need to sometimes go down the rabbit hole to understand who we are. And if you're going to date and get out and know people, you need to know oneself. And here it sounds like to me, you know yourself. Your mother has children, and I can hear now, even in the clip, you said, "No, let me forget that. My mother, that's the only one that I'm afraid of." So I like that. But do you have time? We're going to play this clip because it was our homework. Because I want your honest opinion as not a professional. I want to know your honest opinion. Do you have time for that?
I guess now.
Okay, because we got to do our homework. Mark, can you play that clip?
Was this the short clip, the closing clip, or the longer 5-minute one? That's what I was trying to clarify.
The longer one. And then I don't know, when I say put my time up, but the whole point is we had homework. So it was on you. I just want to, because some folks are not like you. They're not healed. They're not healed. So for the self-worth.
How long is the long one? I'm just asking. I'm asking for a friend.
It's 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Okay.
Minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to put my hand up when I say to stop, and then we can. I just want his honest opinion because he was correct. But not everybody has that same support system, and that's why we're here on the Butterfly Room. That's why Dr. Diamond and I have spoken to folks who have mental health and addictions issues, because sometimes they don't have that strong foundation. Right. So this is the stories about self-worth. I think we talked about a whole lot, but I'm gonna close our homework out. Thank you.
Here's the homework.
When someone doesn't value you anymore, the first thing to do isn't to argue, explain, or beg them to see your worth. Is to pause. Not to punish them with silence, but to stop giving energy where it's no longer respected. People rarely say out loud when they stop valuing you. They show it in small ways. Less effort, less interest, less care, more excuses. And the mistake most people make is trying harder when the signs are already clear. They give more time, more patience, more understanding, hoping it will remind the other person of what they're losing. But value doesn't return because you overextend yourself. It returns when access changes. So instead of asking for explanations, start paying attention. Notice how often you initiate. Notice how quickly they respond. Notice whether your presence feels appreciated or merely tolerated. Because the moment someone stops valuing you, the relationship becomes one-sided in ways that quietly drain you. And that's where the real shift needs to begin. That shift starts with pulling your energy back, not in anger, not with drama, but with self-respect. You stop chasing clarity from someone who already made their choice through their actions. You stop filling the silence they created. You stop adjusting yourself to make them comfortable. Instead, you give yourself the space to see things clearly, without excuses, without hope blinding you, without explaining away behavior that hurts. When you do this, something interesting happens. They either notice the change and feel the absence of what they no longer had access to, or they fade even further, confirming what you needed to know all along. Either way, you gain clarity, because when someone truly values you, they feel the difference when you step back. And when they don't, your peace grows in ways their attention never could. You begin to realize that your worth was never something they could give or take away. It was only something they chose to recognize or ignore. By stepping back, you stop negotiating for basic respect. You stop proving your value through effort. You stop teaching people how to treat you by tolerating less than you deserve. This isn't about punishment. It's about alignment. You create room for people who show up without being chased, who communicate without being reminded, who value your presence without conditions. And slowly the anxiety fades, the overthinking quiets, the constant need for reassurance disappears. Because when you stop pouring into places that no longer honor you, you finally have space to pour into yourself. And that changes everything. You start choosing yourself in quiet, powerful ways. You protect your time. You protect your energy. You stop showing up halfway for people who are already gone emotionally. You no longer explain your feelings to someone who keeps dismissing them. You no longer wait for effort from someone who keeps showing you indifference. And this isn't coldness. It's clarity. You learn that being valued shouldn't feel like uncertainty. That love shouldn't feel like anxiety. That respect doesn't need reminders. As you step back, you begin to notice something else. How much peace you were sacrificing just to stay connected. How much of yourself you were shrinking to keep things alive. And once you see that, it becomes harder to unsee it. Because the moment you stop accepting less is the moment your standards start protecting you. And here's the part that matters most. When someone doesn't value you anymore, your job isn't to convince them to. It's to value yourself enough to stop participating in the loss. You let go of what no longer chooses you. You release the need to be understood by someone committed to misunderstanding you. You stop waiting for effort that should have been freely given. Because staying where you're no longer valued slowly teaches you to undervalue yourself. Walking away isn't weakness. It's self-respect in motion. And the moment you choose yourself, you create space for connections where effort is mutual, presence is consistent, and your worth is never in question. That's what you do when someone stops valuing you. You don't chase. You don't beg. You choose peace instead. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.
As it went, I just let it go. But everything that we talked about today kind of hit that. I guess, you can go, and I know we get to the parting words, but Ezra, opening up, I think we covered a lot with your children. Pretty much what you're showing them, you value yourself, your son, because I was a single parent for a boy. I engrossed and I invested in him. However, he got outside and I did everything. So I felt a little off, but now I know that it's their choice. Someone told me when you plant the roots, you don't dig them up. Only thing we're supposed to do is nourish our children, water them, and do everything. But hearing your approach today, and now I found out something I didn't even know about you. You understand? So right there, you knew what you needed to do. Whatever environment didn't work, and you went out to be a business person. And thank you for sharing with that open. I know Dr. Diamond, if you heard that, he said, for other people, how does someone become a business owner? The reason why is some of the folks, if you look at the bodegas, the example that he gave, they are resident aliens or whatever they may be, but they know more than what we know. We think we have to go in there with credit and stuff as long as you can pay that rent. You understand? You just showed us something. And I am just amazed because I did not know that. And congratulating you on your success. I know the different businesses that you've had, but right now you've just empowered someone who may have been thinking about starting a business and did not know that. So here, knowing your worth means it's not just about relationships, it's about employment when it comes to parenting. But the main thing, as we always talk about history, knowing your family of origin. And the only reason why I shared that, because it made me look in the mirror, some accountability. Well, you know what? Maybe when I'm mentoring, because what is it that's going on in your home? And sometimes what I'm noticing with my niece and nephews, if those teachers are so young, they don't know how to understand conflict. And that's where when kids go home, you gotta talk to your kids, because some parents, they respect the teachers to do it. And these teachers now are not teaching at all. So thank you for sharing how you parent your daughters and your son. So I wanted to pull that in. When anyone else have anything to say about that, but I wanted to just pull that in.
I'm going to add something that I don't know if you noticed it, but it actually plays into something that Ezra said in the homework and everything along those lines. Because I do think that too often we get caught up in this notion of trying to correct people or try to be fixers and all along those lines. And the Ezra said that sometimes that's a mistake that people make in relationships. He said that a couple of times in this show and everything along those lines. And that's what this particular piece said, is that we're going to be truly healed. You got to, what's that old saying? Physician, heal thyself and everything like that. So we got to make sure that we are healed before we can try to even fix and heal other people, which is what this whole homework was kind of alluding to, was that we got to make sure that we are in a safe place ourselves. And Ezra, you said that yourself in a couple of your conversational points as well.
I listened to that whole clip, and it's almost took the words out of my mouth almost itself. And I think if someone listened to that clip and you play that clip every time you feel outside of yourself, I think you'll be okay, because that clip was so common sense. It was broke down so simple. And if you don't live by that clip, then don't listen to it. That's how I would say. But if you listen to it, you should listen to it, because it really does break down what you should do on a daily basis when you're dealing with this weird world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was explained so simple, and it was so true. And you don't even need another lesson. See, make life too complicated. Sometimes some lessons be so good you don't even need to. And I can honestly say you can listen to that quote every time you get yourself in something that you need to get out of it. And I really can say that about that quote that we just listened to.
But
And thank you, because that's what the butterfly room is. So daily, there is a quote, there's a song, because the folks that I dealt with, I made, again, working where you work. But what about the folks who don't have the money? This is something that there's so much self-help, and that's what we do. And we're trying to put that out for our folks. As you said, all these stores are owned by folks who don't live here. And now ICE is out, but now I think it's slowing down a little bit. But we should be able to be entrepreneurs. And I thought about it. I said, you were a multifaceted guest. And thank you for being here for the whole struggle. I know
Do
you're
people get a chance? Do people get a chance to watch this podcast though? Like, how do they watch it?
We're on YouTube too. We're on YouTube as
yeah, it's
well.
on YouTube. The Butterfly Room has its own YouTube page. It has its own Facebook page. It is also part of the
Pod TV
network, which is on Roku and Amazon Fire and a number of other locations. So yeah, there are a number of places that you can watch it and everything like that. And I love this idea of you having these various businesses, Ezra, because as I said before, with W.E.B. Du Bois, when he was talking about the Black Wall Street here in Durham, people think about Seals and some of these great outfits that were out there. But, you know, back in the 30s and 40s, we actually owned our own mattress company. So we didn't even have to go to Seals and stuff like that. We actually had mattress companies that we were building our own beds and not necessarily having beds built by these big box stores and everything like that. So we can go back to those kind of days, because all you, like you said about the store and the Sprite, all it takes is us either making our own mattresses or buying the mattresses the same place that other people buy them and sell them.
Believe me, they got wholesale mattresses. Yeah. You can buy them for really cheap prices. They're not really that expensive either. A lot of times, you know, they up furniture so high. But if you really get to a wholesaler, furniture is not that expensive. My brother's had a furniture store before. But listen, guys, I could go all night with you guys, but I have to let you go. And it's been a great, yes, thank you. I mean, it gave me something to you know, get prepared for my podcast itself. I think I'm getting a little ready.
I don't know. You have Dr. Diamond. Hey, reach out to me.
And I have a podcast as well. Love to have you come on mine. It's on the online dinner party every Wednesday afternoon and everything. And a good buddy of mine who is a sheriff, by the way, he actually owns a store where they do, speaking of wholesale, he actually sells like old refrigerators and old washing machines and stuff like that. So he and his business partner are actually doing.
His brother had a appliance store. I'm telling you, the family, they have a lot going on.
That's all I do. I don't, really, for one, I just don't like working for people. So to be honest with you, yeah, I'm kind of like, no, I don't want to listen to him. So
but
that's
thank you so much, and we wish you
well.
you guys. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right, I'll be in touch. Nice to meet you guys, though.
All right. Nice to meet you as well.
All right, adios.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, Dr. Diamond, I know what's your thought about that? Because again, I wanted to get another viewpoint, because we are going through a lot right now with the government, you know, with war, and folks just need to understand. And I think we hit a lot with what Ezra was saying, and it just usually just goes the way it goes. So what is your viewpoint on that clip, our homework?
Well, on the homework, I do agree that it is a good affirmation for a person daily, but you also have to find out what are the things that might be your shortcomings. Like, why do you feel the need to people please? Okay, because if you're trying to get someone to accept you, there are times that you're people pleasing to get the acceptance. So why don't you do that for yourself? But people don't know how to do that for themselves, because there are things that they missed as a kid, because usually it starts in childhood. Nothing starts as an adult. It starts in childhood when you're missing certain components, and then you begin to display certain behaviors as the adult. So also, I would like to say this too. Teach people how you want to be treated. Teach them. You teach them how you will want to accept things and don't accept things. That's what boundaries is. You don't have to take something from someone, and if you say something about it and they get upset about it, then really it's their problem. It's really not yours, because it's you have to set boundaries in your life. If you don't want someone to step across your toes, you have to let them know. There are a lot of people that tell the truth. I'm one of those people to tell the truth. I also am one of those people that know when to say it, because there are people that are not receptive to the truth. And instead of them being ready for it, they get upset about it. And then it's like, oh, I want to speak to this person no more. No, but they didn't realize it came from the interaction between you and I. And then I told you up front, if I tell you I'm a forward person, I'm telling you that I'm going to tell you something, and you may not like it, but at least I'm telling you that this is who I am from the beginning. So don't be upset if I'm putting something out there to you. And, you know, if you're going to tell me something about myself, or if I'm doing something and I'm willing to receive it, and you may not receive it right then, because human emotion kicks in first. But then when you process things and you say, why would that person be saying this about me? Am I displaying this quite often? Yeah, if you hear it from other people, then yeah, you might want to look at yourself and see what's happening. So I just say overall, it's just so much going on in society. You're right. It's a lot going on, but also we got to remember there's a lot of conditioning that happens. We start saying, well, let me blend in with everybody else, knowing that that's something you really don't want to do. So it's just so much there. And you got to figure out your space. Where do I show up? How do I show up? So all of these things can be going through your mind. So I would just say that is a daily affirmation for anyone who really needs to get through their daily life, looking at it from that point of view of who am I showing up for, them or me?
Exactly. I agree with that, because let me just get on there, Mark, please. When I chose that clip, I'm around different people, and as we know that when Dr. Don, we hear a lot of stories. I have 26 years of stories in my head, and now the reason why I want to speak up and why we need to continue this movement is because you see it spilling over, and then when you see someone tell you something at a young age, I'm like, nah. Then to actually witness it, hear it, and experience it blew my mind. So that explains, and because I deal with mostly African Americans, and the African Americans become violent, and I sit back in the office listening to the conversation. Someone say, you took my stuff. I said, so and so, didn't you give them the cigarettes? So I had to finally say, stop loaning stuff. That's just an example if you're working in a group home, or you have someone that has company. So then one of the things that I had to teach them was, you know what, your valuables need to be locked up. So you think about it. These are things that wherever they were in their family of origin, they didn't have to worry about. Then someone who has sticky fingers steals. This is the main thing I witnessed in one of my situations. A guy was victimized. Someone used his phone. And as the investigator on my job, I had to go into the banking records. There was a consumer who was taking money. We had to report that to the state. So then I'm thinking, who else did this person victimize? So at this point, you can't do nothing about it. We had to work with this person. This person is a thief. So I'm looking at it where, what are we doing at home? So that's where, as you said, it hit a nail today, that the family of origin, when you have young parents, what are they doing? They're doing what they're doing. I miss the big mamas. A lot of the stuff that I learned was from my big mama. And that's why I'm mentioning. Because these children are lost. They are lost. And I said, if we talk about these topics on our show, we're trying to spread a seed to let them know why these children are fluid, why they are doing whatever. And now dealing with my nieces and nephews in school, I remember the dean of students was calling me. So there's some things. I said to my niece's mother, what's the letter? She went in the other day to the letters in Genesis. There were no letters. I said, well, how is my nephew or niece getting in trouble and there's no letter in the portal? So now the next step is we need to go to the superintendent. I said, I don't like the school system. I said, because where's the transparency? So now again, this is what's happening. I have my hands in the school system right now. And now, as you know, we mentor. through the organization. And I said, this is a lot. It's a lot where now, we talk to, you have a granddaughter, my niece, we're working with these children to teach them these tools. So the only thing that I want to say today is my purpose of this is listen to that. If you don't sit down and have these conversations with these children, the bullying starts in elementary school. And if it continues and these parents are unaware, it happens in the street. I remember as an adult, I was baited and had a fight. One thing about that. But then I remember in college, I almost wasn't going to be an RA. But luckily, I worked for one of the directors from freshmen there. And I said, wait a minute. She said, if she don't show up, you still get your housing. That's why now I can be stoic with that, because I almost lost something. And that housing and room and board, when you're RA, you get that good meal plan. So now I put that into life, and I'm sharing that with everyone. When a person may not know how to speak, you don't have to respond. You respect yourself. So today we were talking about self-worth in all different aspects. We opened up with relationships. We heard someone. We just saw something here. We hope that we gave you planted some tools that you can go back, play this back in your daily life. As a person who works here, you have to learn to purge. I have a playlist on YouTube. I have YouTube Red. I have to have a morning routine. Thanks to Marlon E. Curtis II, 31 Reasons to Bet on Ourselves. He's going to be here in 2 months, but on a different side. He was on Dr. Diamond. You have to hear the playback. Go to On the Couch to see Marlon E. Curtis II. You have to listen to this. We have to bet on ourselves, because if your family of origin did not give it to you, this is why the world is the way the world is.
Speaking of betting on yourself, and we're going to wrap up the show and everything like that. That's kind of what I alluded to earlier and everything like that, because Clarissa Shields is a young boxer. I think he's up there in the Midwest, if I remember correctly, and everything like that. But she was definitely not letting people just step over her toes and everything, because Sterling Sharp, who is a sportscaster, was trying to have these comments, basically calling her out and saying that she could never fight a man. And she basically said these guys doing all of this chirping are the same guys who cannot punch correctly or fight. Shannon Sharp, you will throw a hip out trying to fight anybody. So let me do my thing and be the greatest. And I'll spar Raleigh, because most of her sparring partners are men. And just to shut y'all up, dead ass and everything like that. And she's in a follow-up post, she said, I don't aspire to fight a man, rolling on the floor, laughing emoji, but I get busy inside that ring flat out. All my sparring partners are men, and everyone knows I'm a banger with quick hands, and yes, defense go crazy. I don't post my sparring because I have zero to prove. And that's what I think a lot of people are trying to do, is they're trying to prove stuff that they don't need to prove and everything. So addressing their comments about women boxing more broadly, she added, and I'm not too keen on anybody telling me what the hell I can and cannot do. They said back in 2016, no woman boxer would ever make $1 million. So she's making $1 million and everything like that. So they was attacked. They were saying that they would never have people that could do that, whether it was in the WNBA or somebody like her in women boxing.
Well, if Madam Butterfly was on here today, she would have said, you have to show them better than you can tell them. Right. That's her word.
That's exactly right.
Why speak? If you know what you know inside you and you are a believer and you have that faith, you go in and do it. So I done my parting words. I know, Dr. Diamond, you're going to shut us out. We're so glad you're here with us today. You had a great vacation, and now you're rejuvenated.
Yeah. I needed that, and that's also a part of being self-worth, is taking care of yourself. That was something that I spoke about before I left to go on vacation. I did a small video just telling people, again, you can talk about it, but be about it, So, in wrapping all of this stuff up today, it was a lot being said today, especially starting with, as you said, the self-worth, and then Ezra talking about again what does that look like with the dynamics of relationships. So I think we have to always remember that have a relationship with yourself first, especially as you get older and you grow as a person. That's a part of what growth is. Just like a tree starts out very small, and then it becomes this big tree. So we are the same way. We have roots. We have all of these things that show us that we're growing, but you can also stop growing, and you can be that same tree that all the leaves fall off. So when you're doing that, and you see these leaves are falling off, try to water yourself, and watering yourself and taking care of yourself so those roots can begin to become stronger, and then you start growing those leaves again. So it's just about looking at yourself, taking your experiences and learning from them. Ezra said this, don't repeat something that you already knew what it was. So why would you repeat the same exact behavior? So I agree with that. When you're picking someone in your life, if you know that they're not good for you, don't keep them in your life, not even as a friend if they can't show up as a friend either. And then friendship is important as a foundation of all relationships. And I mean all of them. That includes even your family. You know, you can be friends with your family too. It's not just the people outside of your family, because there are people in our family we don't even like.
Right.
Now let's tell the truth here. Some people you don't like them because they don't show up, and that you don't show up for them, and that's a true dynamic.
That's the hard part for people. Yes.
Yeah, it's very hard, but you know, I think realism is a big part of that too. Being real, be real with yourself, be real with the people around you. And then again, just look at what growth looks like. What does that look like? Am I scared to grow? And what's stopping me from being afraid of growing? Clarissa Shields, she's a good example of that. If she took what Shannon Sharp said, she could have cowered back and stopped boxing altogether. But she took that and said, who the hell are you? What am I? What do I have to prove? And good for her. I'm happy for her, and I'm glad she said what she said. And as for women, and I'm going to end it with this, we have always been in a position of supporting others. And Black women tend to be at the bottom when we were always at the top. It is fearful for people to allow us to climb the way that we do. So just take society right now. Just the person that's in the White House. He's afraid of Black women. We're the most educated. We will call him to the carpet. You will fear people like that can tell you about yourselves. But we have always been the silent fighters for everybody, everyone. We have showed up for everyone. And this is when I talk about us as Black women, we need to be more careful about loving each other a lot better, because we're already showing up for others. We don't need to be bringing each other down, because society does that very well already. So what are we doing? Why repeat the same behaviors if we don't have to? So I would just say to all sisters, start coming together and bigging each other up, even if it's for the smallest things. It's not going to harm you. It's free to give someone a compliment. It's free to show up for the next person. Nothing is costing you, not one thing. Now, if you don't like the person, that's all good too. Listen, you're not going to like everybody that you meet. But if you're in a circle with some women and you say you're genuinely going to be their friend, show up for them for real. Don't say it and don't do it. And that's all I'm saying, you know, as far as Black women, we're stronger than most people think. It's not, we at times, we probably feel that we're counted out. But if we're counted out, it could be how you're showing up. Okay, so just be careful how you're showing up and how you're presenting yourself, because there's always a lasting impression. And that's not, you want to leave one that's positive versus the negative. And that's all I have to say about that. As far as the butterfly room, and I hope my ending is good. And thank you all for even showing up to that tonight on the butterfly room. And thank you, Toya, for inviting me as always.
Well, you know, you're the one that took the Band-Aid off. And as I said, we're coming. And we have a lot going on this year. I have to update you on the other stuff. But we really are here for the healing of one another. And when we do these clips, it's more so to give you homework for your playback, because we listen and some of us have been through things, and you'll find out there's more, but you have to come and tune in. We're every other Friday at 8, which is the 2nd and the 4th. And then Dr. Diamond is next week at 10 a.m. Follow us. We are here so that we can bloom, so that we can rise. As Ezra said, I've known him my whole life and our families are close. I didn't even know what he had. So that blew my mind today. So that means that you can do the same thing too. We have a closing clip, and we're going to give you some tools. Check out the Butterfly Room daily, because that's what I do. You morph. There's 4 stages. Just morph, and we'll see you soon in 2 weeks. But we hope to see you on the couch though.
All right. See you next week. Those of us that's following, we hope to see you next week. And then if we have time also, hopefully we'll pull Ezra over to our show as well, so we get some more ideas or talk to him about entrepreneurship. That was my idea that was coming to my head.
That's
about
why
him.
He was connected.
He had 13 businesses. So,
Thank
you know,
Lord.
Let me know on the back end, Toya, or you know about him. So other than that, hey, you guys, I'll see you next week, okay? And to all the followers in the Butterfly Room, thank you guys, and I hope you all see us next week. All right.
And here's that closing clip that you were talking about. So
yeah, because we on relationship. This is for the ladies. This is for the ladies.
Yeah, this is the closing clip.
When a woman love you, you ain't gotta ask twice. You don't. A lot of times she know what you need better than you do. Cause that's how locked in she is. That's how much she love you. That's how much that her man means to her. A lot of times we be dating women who don't really like us like that. So now we having to jump through hoops to get simple things. To just get calls returned or food cooked or whatever. Like simple things. Like we gotta jump through hoops to get. Cause that woman don't really love us like that. But when a woman love you, you ain't gotta ask twice for nothing. You bring up an issue to her, she going out of her way to fix it. She going out of her way to solve it. Because she love her man. She don't want her man stressing. He already stressing enough out there trying to make a way for him. Like she gonna take as much off of your plate as you'll allow her to do when she really love you. We gotta start dating women who really love us. Not women who we wish love us. Not women who are for play, but we trying to turn them into something permanent. We need to lean into the women who really love you. And everything get easier from that point.
You found a quiet corner of your mind, a shelf where all the broken things were piled. The stories told in whispers and in scars brought you here beneath these waiting stars. Not for a fix or just to soothe the ache, but for the chance that something new could break. So let the silence hold you like a seam where every thread of hope begins to gleam. This is the in-between. Welcome to the butterfly room.